and also to tell you a little bit about a charity close to my heart, a place called Home. And attached to that, if we could perhaps have an auction and raise a little money for both Rotary 5 and a place called Home. I've got some seats for a game, dinner included, parking included, field visit included. So as I'm talking about the Dodgers, maybe you can start thinking about whether or not you have an interest in contributing to two great causes. I've got approval from Megan that whatever we would do today, we would split. And so hopefully we can help out a lot of people today, and you can leave here feeling good about your baseball team and also feeling good about helping out some kids and helping out some of the great charities that Rotary 5 gets involved in. As you may know, we went through a couple of years here that were a little bit different. We had a couple of issues off the field that gained a lot of press, a lot of publicity, and put a cloud over one of the best franchises, not only in baseball or this country, but in the world. And we are through that. When I look outside and I see the sun shine, I know that the sun really is shining now. And it was a tough time. But I tell you, there's lessons to be learned from everything. And I think two of the lessons that a lot of us learned, and they're not only lessons for a baseball team, they're really lessons for life, is that if you can focus on the parts of life that you can change in a positive way, that's where you ought to keep your thoughts. We all get bogged down with a lot of noise and a lot of different things that make up part of our lives and different things that come and go on our daily walk. But in my own case, I had to focus. I had to focus on the baseball team, the staffs of people that I oversee, and trying to make this thing as good as I can despite all the noise on the outside. I think it was, am I perfect at it? I'm not perfect really at anything, but I'm better at it because I was forced really to focus at it. And to try and really, as I say, try and make what you can affect in a great way. That's where we ought to be spending our time. And it was a key thing. And the other thing is that I can't predict what any other human being is going to do. I can't make him do something. I can't make him think a certain way, behave a certain way, or do anything. All we've got individually is our effort. And it needs to be full, and it needs to be pure. And as I tell Donnie, Mattingly, and our staff, and our players, I'm not much for speeches. I'll speak one time a year, usually at spring training when everybody gets there, and hopefully I don't have to speak until we get to a postseason. But it's really my conversation at that point in time, and whenever I see him throughout the course of the year periodically, it's about the effort. And I think if you're true with your effort, no matter what walk of life you're in, no matter if it's a relationship, whether it's your career, whatever it is, if your effort is true and it's pure and it's full, there's nothing to be ashamed of, and there's nothing that you'll be able to go to sleep at night and think that, well, if I had done, or if I'd done this, or if I'd done that, it would have been a lot better. There's some lessons we learned not only in baseball, but in life the last couple of years. Last year, the last 10 weeks, we played really well. Through all the noise on the outside, we were about 17 games over 500 the last 10 weeks. And when you've been around the game as long as I have, and you work in a major market, and all the markets I've been in have been major markets, you got a team with high expectations. When you start to falter halfway through a season, a lot of your players go the other way. They stop producing, they start worrying more about their personal stats and their contracts, and they worry less about working as a team and playing as a team and winning games. And to the credit of Don Mattingly, who was the first-year manager and who was under some criticism upon his hiring for not having enough experience to get the job. Actually, I was under more criticism than him. He couldn't help that he had no experience. I'm the guy that hired him. But when he got to August, he didn't let the team falter. He didn't let them quit. He didn't let them feel sorry for themselves. He didn't let them keep reading the LA5 and trying to figure out how messed up the organization was at different levels. He kept them on the straight and narrow. And when we got to spring training, we knew that the team was going to be sold. We knew that there was going to be new transition, new dynamics that worked for us. But again, the focus was on playing the game, come prepared, give it your full and true effort, and how it goes and how it goes. Because you can't control results. All you control is what you do. and how you go about it. You can never predict the game or predict how it's going to go. Too many different things that can happen. But to his credit, the coaching staff and the players themselves, we stayed together. We went through, as we have in the past few years, our payroll started to decrease again this winter. So it kept us from going after a couple of the bigger free agents, although we did make a big move at Prince Fielder quietly for about 2 months, and I thought we had probably a decent chance to get him until a player from Detroit blew out his leg, and then Detroit got in at a very high level on Prince, and they ended up signing. But the players we did sign are probably more in my ilk than they are a Prince Fielder type. They're grinders, they play hard, they put the team first. Guys like Mark Ellis, Chris Capuano, Aaron Harang, Jerry Hairston. Brought back a couple guys that also epitomize that, Tony Wynn Jr. and Juan Rivera. So I think we're a good team. I'm not here telling you we're a great team. I think we're on the verge of going from good to very good. And in July, perhaps, with the new ownership firmly behind us, we can add a player or two at the deadline on the 31st that can push us over the top, as we've done a few other times back in 2008, 2009, when we went to the LCS. So things are looking up. Things are getting better. The mood in the building is better. The fans have started to come back, and you can feel a little bit of electricity in the building now. Less of a cloud and more of a real positive that we got something good going on. The group that's in charge now, purchased the team, is Guggenheim Sports Partners. Very, very successful group. They are, the way it was explained to me, is they are people who invest in companies and purchase companies that are the best at what they do. This group had a chance to get involved a couple other Major League Baseball teams in the last 3 or 4 years and didn't do it because it wasn't their type of group, type of club. LA Dodgers, obviously, for those native Los Angeles in the room, for those that have moved here, you know that between Disneyland and Dodger Stadium, there's probably a common thread that ties everybody together. So they were waiting. They were patient. They waited for the Dodger situation to get a little bit clearer. They had that at a crossroads to make a purchase, and did so. And they did so with 2 of the best people you could ever have on a sports franchise by their side. One, Stan Kasten, who spent 30-plus years running the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals, and a one-time ran an NBA team and an NHL team all at the same time in Atlanta. Guy with a great experience, great vision to make an organization work at all levels. And the other guy, name slips my mind here. Short soccer player. Obviously, he's playing with Magic Johnson. Who, when you think about Los Angeles, and when you think about, at least I didn't grow up there, I grew up in Chicago. You think about John Wooden, you think about Ben Scully, you think about a lot of great athletes, Sandy Koufax, Strasdale, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. Magic Johnson is epitome of all. He's somebody who had a Hall of Fame basketball career here, developed, helped take the Lakers into this last 20-year period where when they don't win the championship, it's like, what happened? And also then got into business and ended up being almost a Hall of Fame businessman in this community. So we've got the all-star team above us. We've got the all-star team of character, of experience, of Los Angeles experience, and knowing what to do in this city to make this franchise as great as it can possibly be. It's a thrilling thing for me, because I need to be aggressive in my job. I need to be aggressive without being foolish. And for the last couple of years, admittedly, it was tough to be aggressive. There were players that we wanted to acquire, and I would think about making a move and trying to acquire them, and I thought, you know what, we're never going to be able to get down the road on that for a couple other reasons. So, things are good. We turn the page, things are getting better. We're going to continue to get better. We're going to go from good to very good to one day great. And bring a championship back to Los Angeles, where it's not a basketball team that's winning. Maybe a hockey team the next month. At some point in time. I'd like to open up to questions. Anybody has any questions here? I'd be happy to try and answer for you. Yes, sir.
What names should we be looking for from the farm system?
What names should we be looking for from the farm system? We've got some pitching coming. It's a little bit down the road, though. Nady Evaldi, you've seen a little bit of. We sent him back a couple days ago. Came up here kind of in an emergency type situation. Evaldi's got a chance to be a real good pitcher. Not just a major league guy, but somebody who can pitch maybe a second or third spot in your rotation. I'm not saying he's Clayton Kershaw. I'm saying he might be a step behind Clayton Kershaw in time. Take a little bit more time, a little bit more patience on his part, but he's somebody that I think has got a chance to be an above-average major league starter. We drafted a left-handed pitcher last year from Stanford University, but he grew up in Los Angeles. Chris Reed, left-hander. College kid, so he's a little bit farther along. Nathan Evaldi was a high school draft, so you got a little bit more of a learning curve there, a little bit more of a growing thing you have to go through. Chris Reed, obviously you go to Stanford, pretty bright. From Los Angeles, means you had a pretty good feel for who the Dodgers are. He's somebody that may be here quickly. I'm not saying this year, but perhaps next year. Somebody that may pitch out of the bullpen. He may also be another starting pitcher. We're thin position player-wise. We graduated D. Gordon this past year, going through a little bit of growing pain right now. Jerry Sands graduated a little bit last year. He's somebody else. After that, it gets a little bit thin position player-wise. But pitching, we've got some depth, but I will look for Evaldi. I look for Chris Reed. Zach Lee is another kid we drafted 2 years ago. Had a chance to go to LSU as a quarterback. We got him out of LSU. All it took was $5.5 million and a tour through Hollywood, and he was here. He's another guy, but again, he's a ways away, and it takes a while. Everybody likes to have, in this day and age and in this time in our lifetime in society, everything's got to be microwave. You got to be quick. Everything fast food. Everything's got to be real quick. You can't do it with athletics. It takes time. It takes time. It takes patience.
There was a lot of speculation through the closing transaction about how the parking lots were going to be handled. And I read in the paper today that Magic Johnson has the authority to cast the deciding vote between McCourts and the new group. Any activity to be done in the parking lots?
Completely candid, I don't know all the fine print, and I don't know how it works. I've kind of, whether it's right or wrong, I've kind of made it my business to worry about the baseball team and figuring out how to beat Colorado tonight, and the rest of it I let other people debate and try and figure out, but I really don't have a complete answer for you. So, if you want to know about Colorado or the Dodgers, I can tell you.
Is that?
Oh.
It's been several decades since the American League went to the designated hitter.
Yes.
Is there some consensus as to what's best? And why does it go one way and not the other?
Yeah.
It seems silly to have two rules.
The question was, it seems silly to have two rules. In the American League, the pitcher doesn't hit. The National League, the pitcher has it. It's been probably 30 years at least since they've changed that rule, and there's a chance that it'll be one way or the other. I think it's probably started off as an idea. One league decided to try, and as time went on, it has also become somewhat of a union issue, I'm sure, because most of the designated hitters in the American League are guys that can't play much defense, so they're kind of one-dimensional. They probably couldn't really play a National League game, and a lot of those players are in the second half of their careers, hence their salaries are pretty strong. So as a union, you wouldn't want to dissolve that particular job, so to speak. So I think that it's going to be here for a long time. I think maybe at some point in time there could be some concession made with the union to give something back to move it out, but it comes up from time to time, but by and large it's probably here for a while yet. It's not on the table right now to dissolve it or to change it.
Nick, I know you're a baseball guy, but I'd be interested in your reaction to my feeling that these Guggenheim guys are bright guys. No question about that. They paid $2.1 billion plus for this endeavor. Am I naive in thinking that this is a real estate play more than it is a baseball play?
I think it's a baseball play first. I think something that's interesting to them, and it should be, is the media play. Because there'll be a TV deal at some point in time that will have to be negotiated. But from what I understand, they're not here just to have it and sell off the property or move around. Mark Walter, who runs Guggenheim, is somebody I met out here a couple weeks ago and in Chicago when we played the Cubs last weekend. This does not seem like a temporary investment. This, to me, with everything he says, this sounds like a long-term thing that his family is going to be involved in for generations.
Hi, Ned. First, I'd like to say thanks for spending the time to come out and talk with us. This is a real treat for all of us, all us baseball fans out here. I'd like to tie your talk a little bit into business, if I could. There's been a lot of talk on sports radio about the Red Sox clubhouse and the complications they've had. And I'd like to hear from you what your thought is on the importance of chemistry in an organization, and with the new ownership group, if that can be tied into the success of the club right now.
Great question. Everybody hear on that side? I think chemistry in any business, any walk of life, any home is important. I think people have to. Chemistry to me is people who understand the culture and the goal and stay as close to that as possible. That's what chemistry creates. It creates a unity. And you always hear, well, the great teams have chemistry, the bad teams don't have chemistry. Well, some of that's accurate because of what I just said. I think it does help. I think the last few years we've signed players that don't draw the 72-point type on the LA Times as superstars, but they're strong guys as far as who they are. I mean, Mark Ellis, you look at Mark Ellis's numbers at a box score, and you think he's just another player. But he's one of the smartest players we've ever had. And he's one of the truest baseball players we've ever had. And that becomes contagious, and that starts to create chemistry. When Matt Kemp matures as he has and starts to become one of the best players in the game, along with Clayton Kershaw, we've got one of the best hitters, one of the best pitchers who also have some charisma to them in that room. That builds chemistry. And I think when you have it, it's so, you know when you have it. You know without doubt that you got it. And when you can have it all the way through an organization, including starting with Mark Walter, now you're really going to be able to do many, many more things. Again, you're not going to be able to ever control results. That's out of everybody's hands. But as far as your preparation and how you approach whatever it is that stands in your way or that meets you day in, day out on a challenge basis, you've got a great chance of doing it when you've got that type of energy and that cohesiveness. And I've been doing this a long time, I'm sure you said. And I didn't have to come to LA. I came here because I saw the upside of this organization. I was with the hated Giants for 11 years, so I know what it is. But I also came here for the last year before I got here, and I saw what it was. And I thought this franchise has got more upside, including on that part, because that's a key component to it, than probably any franchise in baseball. There's some teams that are successful, they're only going to draw so many fans. They're only going to have so much sponsorship revenue and all that from the business side. They're limited because of really the place they play in, the city they play in. This one, there is, the old saying, the sky's the limit. That is so accurate for this franchise. And I think now we're going to have a chance to see how high we can get there. But it takes the team unity, and the team unity is not just the 25 guys that come out of the dugout. It's the whole group. And not only the whole group in LA, but the whole group through the farm system too. And I've been trying to change culture for a long time here, bring it back to what it was. Because I've been coming here 25 years before I worked here. So I know how good it was in the 70s and the 80s. And I was a kid growing up in Chicago in the 60s, so you could tell that when Koufax and Drysdale and Moore and Wills were playing, that this group had it together. And we're still on our way trying to recreate that, trying to get that back. But I think we're probably, no question, we're in the best spot to do that now since I've been here.
Ned, I got a question about minor leagues. And there was an article a couple of years ago in the New York Times about, back in the day, pitchers coming into the minor leagues would have, you typically see over 200 innings before they kind of make to jump to the next level. You have guys like Warren Spahn, who apparently had over 300 innings. And now we have the last couple of decades, that extended generation of talent that's sort of being rushed up at a very early time. Typically, under 200 innings, in some cases 140, 160 innings. You see them blowing out their arms early. And the reasoning the article stated was that why the early generation was pretty successful was that in 300 innings you have a chance to take them down with not having the best stuff. You'd have to figure your way out of it. So with the pressure on these kids coming up, do you see that getting those arms blown out early, is that an irreversible trend, or is there any way of augmenting that?
It's a great observation, and it's something that we fight all the time, and it goes back to something I said earlier about patience. You can't. Clayton Kershaw never pitched a day in AAA. He pitched far less than 200 innings in the minor leagues. And when he first got here, he struggled. If I had a minor league, it'd be more than 300 innings and more than 400 innings. Because this is a tough place to struggle for the first time in your career. But what has transcended in sports in the last 20 years, and especially in relation to baseball, is fewer kids play. So it's just supply and demand rules. You've got kids playing other sports. You've got kids playing soccer that 30 years ago hardly anybody played soccer. You've got all different things that kids do. Then you got the whole video game in, which has taken them off the basketball court, off the baseball field. And you've got so many different things that kids get involved in now that to find people that really play baseball since they were a kid and love playing baseball, it's tough to do that. Hence, you run out of players at some point in time. Couple that with expansion, there's 30 teams now. When I first started watching baseball, there were 16. There's almost twice as many as when I first started being a fan. So suddenly you've got all these other things you've got to account for, and you've got to have enough people to do it. I always err on the side of being as patient as I can. It's one of the things that is one of my greatest challenges. I mean, we're in LA. We got to win every day. We got to pray. We got to do all this stuff, right? But we all have players to do it, and you got to be patient enough to wait it out to get there. Like Dee Gordon, it would be great if we had Dee Gordon back in AAA, maybe at the start of the season, to continue to mature and to be good. He's going to be a great player, but he's learning on the job in Dodger Stadium right now. Same thing with Kershaw when he first started. Same thing with Kemp when he first started. Same thing with really all our guys. They're faster. So I don't know how we stop that, except draft all the best players, sign all the best Latin American players, and have it stockpiled so deep that you got guys that are winning 20 games in the minor leagues and can't get up here. I don't see that happening. Yes.
Yes.
We'll do two more here,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
I'll be right back to you.
In 1949, I married a girl from Brooklyn, and since then it's been Leo DeRocher and the Dodgers. I've been a true blue Dodger fan ever since. There are two things that bug me today about the Dodgers. Why did they trade Mike Piazza, and why did they move Tommy Lasorda up out of the manager's job? Tommy Lasorda.
I should have answered his question first.
Tommy Lasorda would have won 20 more games for the Dodgers, and after that he showed everybody. He took a ragtag team of amateurs and minor leaguers and won a gold medal at the Olympics.
Well, I was in San Francisco when they traded Piazza, and I was in San Francisco when they decided to do what they did with Tommy. So, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask, but I appreciate the question. Your turn.
How important is the facility in your baseball program? Does the current facilities meet your expectations or those of our group here in LA?
Okay. Do the facilities affect the team? How important are the facilities? I think the facilities are very important. And it's something that Guggenheim Group is looking at. Looking at Dodger Stadium. It's a beautiful place. It's sitting in a beautiful area. All that, but it's 50 years old this year. And it's certainly something you celebrate that it's 50 years old, but it's also 50 years old. So it's something that they're going to look at to change some facilities there. I think when you talk about facilities now, I just don't think about the structure of a building. And I think of the age we're in with electronics, and with moving things around and getting people on the internet, to get video, and different things like that, it becomes more and more important. And so I think that we've incorporated a lot of that, but again, that part of life continues to accelerate so fast that we have to stay up with it. We're pretty good with the internet stuff and with the video and those things. We can always get better at that, but the facility here probably needs a little bit of upgrade.
Do you want a question in there?
Okay. Last question.
Oh, I'm very honoured then. Ned, I'm not a local lad. I don't profess to know much about baseball, but we have a little game our side of the pond called cricket. What I don't understand is that you guys can play 18 innings in a matter of hours, whereas we can actually take 5 full days to play 4 innings and still not get a result. So I was going to suggest that maybe we should get you over to actually speed things up for us, but then it occurred to me that maybe you'd like to adopt our business model because you get 5 times the gate receipts.
Before I step away here, I want to tell you about a place called home a little bit, and then I want to have lunch or two here if we can, but between now and 1:18. Okay, according to this watch, I've got 7 minutes. So we're going to have to be quick, all right? I got involved. When I came to LA, I wanted to make a difference, not only with the baseball team we all follow, but any way I could with people. Cherie said I grew up in a real humble spot in Chicago. Garage, till I was 5, lived in a four-room house after that. First Colletti ever to go to college, even though I've got cousins that are 15, 20 years older than me. I've been blessed beyond measure in my life, beyond anybody I know. Nobody ever said about Ned Colletti in Franklin Park, Illinois, that he'll at least be the general manager of the Dodgers. So I like giving back. I'm involved with the Guidelines of America, which Cherie's talked about. Pete Carroll's A Better LA. This foundation in the city, Get Lit, which is about helping kids, inner city kids, develop their ability to learn and to read and to write and to create poetry. I'm not a poet, yet I did read that poem, but you know, it's something about helping kids and something to get involved. A place called home I've known for about 4 or 5 years. It's in South Central. I'm going to read you some notes here I've got because I haven't memorized it. I admit I haven't memorized it. Okay. Began in 1992, South Central, active gang area. Deborah Constance had a simple goal: get kids off the street and stop them from killing each other. It began in a basement. It's grown to a 20,000 square foot campus, which I've been to many times. It's a very cool place. If you've ever had a chance and interest in seeking it out, you should. We got a couple guys here. We got Scott and Jonathan are sitting right at this table. They can give you a tour or take you over there. It serves 18,000 kids. 18,000 since 1992. More than 250 young people ages 8 to 21 go there right now. 250 a day stop by. They can stop by, they have some accountability, they have a lot of accountability inside it, but I don't think you have to show up every day if you want. I probably shouldn't be getting into that, but it's a place that people can come, that kids can come, and when you go there, they've got all kinds of stuff. They've got a computer lab, they've got sports facilities, they've got a recording area for kids that have an interest in music. One of the coolest things that I like when I go there is they have a garden. Think of having a simple garden where kids can grow vegetables and understand the value of that instead of eating fast food every day. I mean, it's a tremendous program. It's very close to my heart. They've got 57 young people right now that are going to college. And these are first-time college in the family. Grandma and Grandpa might have been a gang member. Mom and Dad might have been a gang member. Older brothers and sisters might have been a gang member. This group is trying to help the kids that are seeking this help to get out of that cycle and to make something of their lives and have a place that you can kind of call home. And that's what they do. And they do a lot more than that, but that's the quick overview. It's a great group. They need help financially, like a lot of people do, especially since 08 and 09 when the economy started to falter some. So here's what I got for you. I got 4 field level tickets. Good seats, probably, I'm not sure what they go, 100, 125 each or something like that. Don't quote me on that. Dinner on us, the ballpark. Get on the field during batting practice, see the guys up close. Free parking. I'm not going to guarantee a win, but If you get started at $300, 300. You got 350 someplace. It's worth well more than 350. 350.
400.
400. Now we're going.
500.
500. Beautiful.
600.
600.
700.
700.
750.
750. What do you think?
800.
800. It's almost worth 800. Sorry?
$800 packages.
$2 grand.
Can you do it?
Quick.
What do you want to do?
I struck out.
You're in for 8? We should be in for 8?
He's in for it.
Split it.
Yeah.
All right, you got 8, and you got 8. And the place got home and we're in 5. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've got envelopes here with all the information in it, so you can figure it out when you want to come out as soon as possible. Now, if you wanted to sit with me for a couple innings, would you go to 1,000?
Peggy said she would do it for 1,000.
For 2 innings. She sat with me for more than 2 innings. You don't want to be there for more than 2 innings. 5 innings. All the innings? For $1,000? You're on. I've still got 2 minutes.
You're going off of the wrong clock.
Oh,
Ned asked me to synchronize our watches. This is how tired
it
we
is
are.
1:18.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Wait, I've got a little present for you. Thank you very much, Ned. In honor of your presentation today, a $1,000 donation has been made in your name to LA5 Scholarship Fund. The donation will enable a deserving student to achieve their dream of a college education, and on behalf of our members and all of the students that will benefit from your generosity, we thank you very much for being our speaker today. Thank you. Scholarship Day is going to be on Friday, June 1st, and we're inviting all of our speakers, our past speakers this year, back to meet the scholarship recipient that will benefit from your $1,000 donation. So if you're available, we'd love to see you on Friday, June 1st. Thank you very much, Ned. Our final hooray membership reception of the year. Please tell us more about the exciting event you have planned for next Thursday.
Thanks, Megan. Hi, everyone. So if you could raise your hand if you brought a guest to one of our lunches over this past 8-9 months. All right. And so keep your hands up. If your guest that you brought is not a viable prospect for the club, you can put your hand down. So those of you with your hands up, I want you to call that guest that you invited that came to a lunch and invite them to come to a really fun night next Thursday night. You guys are in for a treat. What we're going to do is we're going to do a tour of the Federal Reserve Bank where you're going to actually go down into the vault. And they only let a small percentage of people go in there. Small groups. Don't bring your bags with you or anything.
Without pockets. No handbags.
However, it's going to be really cool. And what we're going to do, and this is Thursday, May 17th, we're going to convene at the Court Bar, which is about a block away from the Federal Reserve Bank, just as our meeting group, because we can only have groups of 20 at a time on that tour. So we're going to meet at the Court Bar, which is on 12th and Grand. And try to get there early, around 5. It's 5:15. We're going to head over the first group to the Federal Reserve. They'll do their tour, and then the next group will go after that. So it's going to be a treat for you all, I promise. The Court Bar is going to be a lot of fun. Charisse is connected with them, and they've offered us some great discounts on hors d'oeuvres and drink specials. So please plan to join us. Register. I'm going to send out an invitation tonight. So I want to see you all there. Let's pack the house. Let's have a good time at the Federal Reserve and at the Court Bar. We'll see you on Thursday night.
The rest of your team, you guys please stand one more time. I'd like to congratulate Paul, who retired on April 30th as the Scout Executive and CEO of the Boy Scouts of America, Los Angeles Area Council. Paul served the Boy Scouts for over 28 years and has left a lasting legacy in our community. Paul, last week you weren't at the meeting, but I did mention your retirement last Friday, and I also mentioned your son's incredibly moving tribute to you on Facebook. The one thing that I didn't mention was that in that tribute, I didn't read any references to your long-term Rotary commitment and membership. And I know your son knows you're a Rotarian, so I think that
Get that wallet out.
together with the life of leisure that awaits you in retirement is certainly worthy of a fine. So please write your own fine amount on the back of the business card. You can give it to John or Jennifer at the end of the meeting. We wish you the very, very best, Paul. We look forward to having you continue your service with us here at LA5 until you make your move later this year to Oklahoma City, where we're sure you will continue your Rotary service there. It's been a pleasure to have you in our club. We look forward to having you until your move, and we congratulate you on your retirement. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Paul.
With less than 2 months remaining in this Rotary year, I want to remind everybody that purchased prepaid lunch ticket packets that you only have 5 more meetings after today to use your prepaid tickets. So if you have more than 5 tickets in your wallet or your purse or your pocket, you will need to invite a guest. You will need to invite a spouse, a friend, or you can donate any extra tickets that you may have to help sponsor one of our scholarship recipients or one of their parents for our very large scholarship day on June 1st. So just be sure to use those because they will expire at the end of the year. Last Saturday, we had a beautiful day at Camp Hyvika. Over 40 Rotarians and guests gathered to ready the camp for the 450 campers that they expect to be arriving soon. Thank you very much to Lori and Jamie of Ability First for organizing the day. Richard Frank from Lowry's and Todd Johnson's temporary replacement, Gina Doyle, were on site to deliver a delicious lunch to all of us. And I especially want to thank all of the Rotarians and friends that made the drive to Crestline for our 8 a.m. start time. It was an early morning. Everybody that's here in the audience that attended Camp Hyvika last weekend, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you very much for your service to us. There is still time to RSVP for the Day of Fun and Excitement with the Adventure Committee this Saturday. They are going to be doing a zip line and hike. Anybody that is planning to attend that has not yet gotten directions, I have them here, and I will keep them up here after the meeting if you'd like to get them. Bob and Mark have also said that they will email them out. There are just a few spots left. There is limited sign-up and availability, so you really need to get back to them today. That would be either Bob Donahue or Mark Mariscal. But they're going to do a small hike, go check out the original location of the Bat Cave, and then have a warm lunch and head off on a 25-foot high zip line, so it should be a fun day. Last week, we all heard from Michael Flood, one of our members, the president and CEO of the LA Regional Food Bank. Our club will be teaming up with the food bank on June 16th for our last and final community service project of this Rotary year. Please take a look at our website. You can pick up a flyer at the registration desk, and I hope to see many, many of you out there to help us package up food for all of those that are hungry. It is very wonderful to see past President Ed Mountfeld here. Ed underwent some fairly extensive heart procedures last Monday. We are very happy to see you back, and you've been in our thoughts and prayers. You look fantastic. Glad to have you back. And now it's my pleasure to invite our Vice President and Program Chair, Ken Chong, Regional Director of Commercial Investment Brokerage Corporation, who will tell us about our upcoming program.
Thank you for being our speaker today. My son, he's 4, he plays Sherman Oaks Speedball, and he's on the Giants. But that's the next crop of kids that will be part of your base. He's not one of them, but there are some. I first want to actually apologize to everyone who got my email yesterday. I was trying to be funny, and 38 weeks have done pretty good. No one was offended. Usually I send out my email, I get maybe 2-3 replies back. Yesterday I got about 30 replies in about 5 minutes. So I was trying to be funny, but obviously it worked because I filled the room. But remember, I'm not directing any emails at you. It just goes to the whole club. So, but anyways, I'm almost done here, and maybe the good thing that will come of it is the past presidents will convene with a special meeting and sanction me. Anyways, next Field. We've got a great tour of the Federal Reserve on Thursday night, and then Friday we will have one of the senior members of the West Coast region come and talk about the role of the Fed. So see you next week.
Today's 50-50 drawing. You switched sides on me this week then. Ben Turner, President and CEO of Forensic Investigation Technical Services. How much will our lucky winner win today?
$106.
Ooh, 106. And the winning ticket number is 452922. 452 in the back. Congratulations. In closing, I'd like to once again welcome our newest member, Corey Hathaway, to LA5. We look forward to getting to know you better in the weeks ahead, Corey. Congratulations to our 20-year service pin recipients, Denny and Carl, and to our many birthdayites, especially you, Pete Parsons, on your 97th birthday and your 43 years of outstanding Rotary service. We're very proud to have you. I'd like to thank Ned Colletti for being our distinguished speaker and for your generous donations of the Dodger ticket packets. Cherise Older and the Capitol Grill for being our program sponsor and for the awesome gift certificates that we all received. Nick Stonington and the Stonington Group for being our green room sponsor. And our club photographer, Tony Medley, for taking such great pictures and putting together our photo albums each and every week. We appreciate your service. Finally, I want to thank all of you for coming and making this another wonderful meeting. Let's follow Gandhi's advice and be the change we wish to see in the world. This meeting is adjourned. I'll see you next week.